to my channel. My name is Brian Craig, and this is where MAGA comes to talk. I want to go over this story that just came out in the Daily Mail. They have a story with text messages from this hookup that Pete Hegseth had with this married woman a few years ago. It's in the Daily Mail. It's the lead story. And the headline, I did tweet this if you want to go and check it out yourself. Read the text Pete Hegseth's accuser sent to her friend before they say Trump's defense nominee assaulted her. He did not assault her. In fact, this woman is probably not very happy right now because what she did is being exposed. I'm going to go through this story and we'll talk about it as we go on. But Pete Hegseth is going to be the Secretary of Defense, like it or not. And if they were at least honest with why they oppose him, it would be different, right? We don't like him. He's a man's man. He's a John Wayne type. He's a badass. He is going to fire all these generals and all. If they were honest about why they're opposing him, it'd be one thing. Basically, what they're accusing Pete Hegseth of doing is being a heterosexual, single, horny guy. Oh, well, you know. What do you expect from guys that are military guys like this, right? So let me go through this. Now, again, this is in the Daily Mail, which is liberal, and the story is written in a way that is not sympathetic to Pete Hegseth, okay? So this is the Daily Mail. The woman who accused Pete Hegseth of sexually assaulting her in October 2017 told a male friend he, quote, creeps me out, unquote, in a text exchange that took place just hours before the alleged assault, which did not happen. The messages, obtained by the Daily Mail, were sent to a close male associate. They reveal her distaste for the former Fox News presenter, whom she claims not to recognize and over whom she notes our ladies are freaking drooling, she said, over him. The woman, identified as Jane Doe, had attended a convention at the Hyatt Regency Hotel in Monterey, California, where Hegseth was also in attendance. In the text sent on October 7th, Jane Doe asks, "Do you know Pete Hegseth?" To which the respondent replies, "Name sounds familiar. Who is he?" Jane Doe states, "He is a Fox contributor." Now, first of all, who talks that way, right? Isn't that weird? He's a Fox contributor. Say he's some guy on Fox is what I'd say if I was having a conversation with someone. Isn't that how you would say it? But she claims not to know who he is. Fox contributor. He is a Fox contributor. I guess does Outnumbered and Fox and Friends. Anyway, our ladies are freaking drooling over him. She then sends a picture of Hegseth at a podium and notes he wears a ring on his pointer finger. It creeps me out. The Daily Mail learned that the event was the California Federation of Republican Women's 40th convention, at which Trump's increasingly embattled nominee for defense secretary was the keynote speaker. Later that evening, Jane Doe texted, "This Pete dude is a tool," with a bunch of O's in tool. Asked, "How's that?" She responds, "I'll tell you when I get back, hopefully soon," in a text sent at almost 2 a.m. The texts are contained in the 23-page Monterey Police Department report generated in connection with the incident after a nurse at Kaiser contacted officers when the woman came in asking for a sexual assault examination. She claimed that the assault had taken place at Monterey's Hyatt Hotel sometime on the night of October 7th in the early hours of October 8th, 2017. She told officers that on the night in question there was a banquet, which went on longer than expected, followed by an after-party in the presidential suite at which she drank champagne. She then went with a group of women to Knuckles Sports Bar attached to the hotel, where she said things got fuzzy. Jane Doe did not remember how much she drank, but told officers she had consumed much more than normal alcoholic beverages more than the normal alcoholic beverages throughout the day. By her account, Jane Doe did not like the way Hegseth, who was present at the bar, was behaving towards many of the women in the group, accusing him of groping several. According to the account, Hegseth would rub the women on their legs, and Jane Doe thought that his actions were inappropriate. Jane Doe.
These the same women that were drooling over him?
The women that were drooling, yes. Jane Doe texted that Hegseth was giving off a creeper vibe. The women thought Hegseth was dreamy and wanted pictures with Hegseth. So how can they think he's dreamy, think he's hot, but think he's a creep if they're drooling over him? Maybe these are women attracted to creeps. I don't know. It doesn't even make sense. Jane Doe told police officers she remembered walking out of the bar and that Hegseth must have followed her as they argued by the pool over his behavior at the bar. She remembered Hegseth telling her that he was a nice guy. The next thing Jane Doe recalled was being in a hotel room with no recollection of how she got there, and Hegseth blocking the door with his body. Okay, this is a common thing of people that perjure themselves, tell lies to the police, or perjure themselves in court or in depositions. They claim to not have any recollection. They black out. They don't remember. And that is actually a very calculated legal way of doing things, because when you're lying, no one can prove whether or not you have a recollection. So, sometimes you'll watch a deposition like a great one was Bill Clinton's Paula Jones deposition. He said, I don't recall, like 99 times. And since no one can prove whether or not you have a recollection, oh, I don't remember, I don't recollect, I blacked out. If they show you evidence showing that you are not telling the truth, you can say, oh, yeah, now I remember. Now I recall. You understand what I mean? It's an old legal trick to perjure yourself without getting charged with perjury. The next thing Jane Doe recalled was being in a hotel room with no recollection of how she got there, and Pete Hegseth blocking the door with his body, the report states. Jane Doe remembered saying no a lot. She stated she didn't remember much else. Her next memory was of Hegseth's dog tags hovering over her face and him bare-chested over her. Some adult descriptions coming up. Okay, The next memory she had was when Pete Hegseth ejaculated over her stomach, then threw her a towel and asked, are you okay? For someone that blacked out and doesn't have any memories, she has some very specific memories here and there when they're convenient. Police spoke to witnesses who recalled a couple arguing loudly by the pool and a hotel staff member who attempted to intervene only to have Hegseth curse at him. According to that worker, Jane Doe apologized on his behalf and escorted Hegseth from the pool. Another one of the women present that night recalled repeatedly rebuffing Hegseth's advances and clear attempts she alleged to have sex with her. Speaking to police in the aftermath of the night, she claimed that during a conversation at Knuckles, Pete Hegseth put his hand on her knee. She made it clear that his hand on her knee was not acceptable. Meanwhile, the women are drooling over him. If they're drooling over him, wouldn't they want his hand on their knee? There's none of this makes sense. Despite this, she told officers she did not feel comfortable, but that Hegseth had invited her back to his hotel room. She stated she politely declined his invitation. She stated she gained the attention of Jane Doe and had Jane Doe become a crotch blocker. A crotch blocker is a street term used to describe someone's actions used to prevent someone from having sex. See, this is a paper in the UK, so they have to explain what that means.
I've never heard that expression.
Guy, yeah, that's a big thing with guys. All guys know what that means.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Never heard of it before.
Girls travel in packs at clubs and things like that. That's what they call it. By having Jane Doe join her in Pete Hegseth's conversation, she was hoping that Jane Doe's presence would deter Hegseth's attempt to have sex with her. At the time, Pete had been divorced from his second wife, who was the mother of his 3 young sons, for barely a month, and was a new father to an infant less than 2 months old. His mistress, a Fox and Friends executive, had just given birth to their daughter. Oh, I didn't know that. This guy, he gets around, He's a military guy. They all screw around,
That's how all guys are.
No, well,
the military.
These military guys. I mean, the guy. He's newly single.
Look, I don't care.
He'll
be good. He'll be a good defense.
He's a military guy, where they could die at any moment, and he's a TV celebrity. What do you expect? For his part, Pete Hegseth did not deny having intercourse with Jane Doe, but told police the encounter was entirely consensual. He told officers he continually asked Jane Doe if she was okay because he did not want Jane Doe to get in trouble. Joe was married, and he reassured her she did not have to worry about him saying anything about their interaction, but that he noted as she left, she was showing early signs of regret. So he knew she was married and didn't care. The officer noted that Pete Hegseth did not elaborate on signs of regret. At the end of the report, which was concluded on October 26, 2017, the officer recommended the case be forwarded to the county attorney's office for review. They did not bring any charges. Hegseth admitted to paying the woman off for fear of a lawsuit. His lawyer described Jane Doe as the aggressor on the night in question and says he was falsely accused. Okay, now, by the way, welcome. If you're new, my name's Brian Craig. This is where MAGA comes to talk. Make sure you subscribe, and if you're already subbed, do me the favor of liking the video if you don't mind. At the end of last week, Megyn Kelly did an extensive, detailed breakdown of everything that happened. She went through the entire police report, Megyn Kelly, and it was very detailed. And basically what happened, according to Megyn Kelly's account, is she cheated on her husband. She was texting nonstop with her husband, except for a 2-hour period between like 2 and 4 a.m. That's when she was hooking up with Hegseth. When she went back to the hotel room, her husband was staying at the hotel room. He's like, "Where the hell were you?" And he could tell that she had had sex. And that's when she concocted this "I was sexually assaulted" story to cover up her cheating on her husband. Now, her husband's got to be a real idiot to believe that. And I guess they got into method acting, and someone insisted they make a police report, probably the husband. I don't know. We don't have the details on that. And they continued to push and push and push and got this settlement out of him. To me, and it looks to me as if he knowingly hooked up with a married woman, and she was trying to cover up her hookup with this guy to her husband with this claim. That's what it is. Now, I know Democrats believe that heterosexual sexual activity is always sexual assault. That's what liberals believe. Okay, if you see it, all heterosexual sex is a sexual assault. That's just how it is. And they think there's something dirty about people having sex. The only people they think are dirty having sex are conservatives. All they do is promote sex with anybody other than, conservatives doing it. No one cares. And I don't think, and you guys can let me know yes or no, who do you believe, Pete or Jane Doe? Pete or Doe? Pete or Doe, who do you believe? I think it's pretty obvious what happened. Monterey, California. The liberal California, you're telling me that liberal police and liberal California didn't charge a Fox News guy? They saw the video. They saw that she was completely sober and that Pete was drunk off his rear end, and she willingly went to the room with him. That's what the police investigation determined. That's why they didn't charge him. Yeah, Pete, exactly. Exactly. And as I said at the beginning of the stream, if they were honest with why they're opposing him, it would be a whole nother thing. If they said, you know what, we don't like him because he's going to fire these generals, he's going to discharge all the transgender people from the military and all these things that he's talking about, at least they would be honest with their opposition and we could have a debate about it. But everyone in the media that's floating this story, they know the truth that the woman lied. And I would imagine that the woman must be in a complete panic because now everyone that knows her knows who it is, right? Her family, whoever. They all know her husband's got to be pissed because everyone knows that his wife screwed around and got caught and all of this. So I would imagine they are not happy that this has come out. Well, when there's somebody that's a celebrity, it's like a lottery win. I don't think this was like a lottery win thing. This was just like she cheated on her husband, she got caught, and she was covering up for herself. And, that's what it seems like to me. I don't know. But it's not going to work. He's going to be the defense secretary, and that's it. Bye-bye Medicare. Why do you say that? Please. Give me a break. Medicare will be fine. Medicare will be fine. But I'll tell you this. Okay. Um, what's happened here a little bit with the media and the Democrats, when Matt Gaetz was named as the Attorney General pick, it took attention away from Pete Hegseth, right? This thing with Pete Hegseth came up right away. And I remember when the Matt Gaetz pick got announced, I said, this makes the Pete Hegseth pick look kind of boring, doesn't it? Because Matt Gaetz is so, in your face and out there. Now Gaetz is out of it. So the media are focusing in on Pete Hegseth, and they think they got a victory with Gaetz. So we got one. We got rid of one. He's on Cameo now. So let's go. Let's try after Pete. We'll get Pete on Cameo before we're done. But they're not going to win this one. It's just not going to win. Trump is standing firm with this one. And if you look at the picks that Trump's been making, really not Washington insiders, and they're people that the establishment are panicked about because these are not people they can intimidate or buy off. I mean, Pete Hegseth and Tom Homan are like two of the toughest guys in the country. Nobody would mess with those guys. Exactly. And age, I don't know. I know that at now this is an interesting thing. We don't know anything about the Jane Doe other than what I've mentioned here. But if you remember there was that Russian spy that was seducing Republican men at the NRA convention? She got arrested. Remember that? So I don't know if this was one of those things or not. Who knows? Gaetz is still in the mix. Now, Gaetz is out. He's out. The fact that he's not keeping his House seat for the new Congress shows that he's out. I don't know why he's on Cameo. I mean, does he need the money because he's no longer getting the congressional paycheck? Because I thought that Gaetz and his family were well off, but you never know. I don't know why he's doing Cameo. It seems a little strange to do Cameo. No, I've seen some of his cameos on X. Yeah, that's a good question, Ace. Did you lose Medicare the last time Trump was president? Exactly. Actually, Medicare and everything is going to be stronger because all of these illegals are sucking off of the Medicaid system. They won't be sucking off of it anymore. Oh, Frank unsub. We have to be. You would have to have been sub to unsub. Why was her husband at the hotel? Was he suspicious? I don't. Maybe they went to the event together. I don't know. The husband must be a real tool. And I don't know. I'm a little confused. Were they part of this conservative conference or were they just at the hotel? I really believe that it's like such a severe injustice that these accusers make up these wild accusations against people and you don't get to know anything about them. You can't face your accuser, right? They're protected. Everything's a secret, but they could say whatever they want and slander people, and their identities are completely secret. It's.
I know exactly what happened.
What?
Her husband went to bed early for whatever reason. Maybe he was tired or whatever. And
Drunk.
She said, well, I'm going to hang out in the bar.
Mm-hmm.
She hooked up with Pete. She went back to her room. Obviously, her husband was pissed. Where have you been? And I think you could tell when somebody's just had sex.
He smelled sex on her.
And she probably looked disheveled and could smell, you could tell. And she panicked and she made up this story. And he said, well, then if it's true, you need to file a police report.
Mm-hmm.
And she had to do it because he wouldn't believe her unless she did.
And she did.
And she did it. And it was investigated.
And
the charges got dropped.
Mm-hmm.
So
there were no charges.
No charges. That's right. No charges. And this is going to go nowhere. So let them have their fun.
Oh, yeah.
It'll go nowhere because he was not charged with anything. Her story is extremely fuzzy.
But,
and her texts there only make her look even more like a liar because she's saying how all the women are drooling over him, but then they're upset because he was touching their knees. That makes no sense.
And, if this is not a recess appointment, if it goes through the congressional hearing, I would think they're going to try to bring her in and do like they did to Kavanaugh. And it's going to fall apart big time then.
This is why you don't file a false police report.
Yeah.
Bad idea.
Yeah.
It's illegal too.
And if she's not like really good looking, it's not going to help her case too much because people will be like, Pete went through all that for her. You know what I mean? It's got to, She was a greeter for Pete. Well, there were two women, and it's a little confusing of which was which. Okay, there was one woman he was after that wasn't interested, and then Jane Doe came in.
So she was the second choice.
Yeah, so I imagine if she came in for the hearing, she would be the lesser attractive of the two women, since she was the fallback girl.
Oh my gosh, her husband must be thrilled.
Oh my gosh, how embarrassing!
Well, now she's got to see it through because
she took the money.
She filed a police report. She can get in trouble for that.
She's got to live the lie.
Cover the Daily Mail. So now she's got to see this whole thing through, and try to convince everybody.
The Republicans might subpoena her to bring her in.
They should.
They really might. They know. Oh my gosh, it didn't work with Kavanaugh. And this whole thing of blacking out and not having memories, but having these very specific memories that are so convenient.
Well,
nobody buys that.
She's insinuating that he gave her a roofie.
Mm-hmm.
She's like, well, everything got fuzzy, and she just can't come up with a story.
The police report shows that the police went and got the hotel surveillance video, and they saw her and Pete Hegseth walking. They said Pete Hegseth was totally tanked. And she looked completely sober and in control.
They did a toxicology or a blood test on her.
I hope the video still exists.
Yeah, if she had said at the time, I don't remember, I would think they would test her for Rufinol or something like that.
I hope that the video comes out. I'm surprised it hasn't already. You'd think it'd be all over the place.
Yeah.
Yeah, where does it say she was the aggressor?
Yeah, the video will show that he didn't know what was going on, and she was the one leading the charge.
Yeah, guys like Pete Hegseth, they have women she said they're drooling over him. He's got like his pick almost.
Well, yeah.
It was probably difficult because there were probably a lot of married women there.
Dresser. He
does dress nice, and he wears fancy socks that stand out.
He's a good-looking guy.
Yeah.
But he knows it apparently.
Yeah, I bought some really snazzy shirts today. I can't wait to. I'm not going to tell you what they are, but they're really cool Trump shirts.
Just don't wear them to a bar with drunk women.
Yeah, exactly. I won't wear them to Mexico next time I go to Mexico. Yeah.
No, yeah, I wouldn't.
Yeah. The president of Mexico, this woman, anyone who's the president of Mexico is owned by the drug cartels. Nobody becomes president of Mexico without the cartels. And she's threatening a trade war against the United States. I don't even. What do we get from Mexico? I mean, I know they have tequila, but I imagine we make tequila here. And is Corona really all made in Mexico? We can live without Corona.
There must be a lot of factories there. Well, that's what Trump wants. He wants the factories here. So who cares?
Mexico is not going to win a trade war with us. Not going to happen. I'm sorry. But, Mexico has been a problem since forever, right? Since the Texan War of Independence. There's never been a time in American history that we've not had conflict and problems with Mexico. I hope they try a trade war. They're going to lose big time. There's nothing that Mexico is providing that we need from them. There's no way we don't make some tequila in this country. And I would imagine the Corona is bottled here. Have you ever seen a ship at sea come into port filled with Corona? I don't think so. The bottles are too heavy to ship. They probably bottle them pretty locally in the state. I do like Corona, I must say, but we can live without it. And all the factories that are there because Bill Clinton sold us out with NAFTA, they got to come back here. Mexico's going to fight a trade war again. Did you guys see the Canadian Prime Minister after his phone call with Trump, Trudeau? He looked terrified. He got off the phone with Trump, and he looked scared to death, like he was panicked that the Canadian economy was going to collapse because Trump stood up to him. Beautiful.
Oh, I would have loved to heard that phone call.
Oh, that'd be the best. I mean, he looked scared, didn't he? Did you see Trudeau? He looked really bad. Well, Daddy did yell at him. Daddy Trump. What?
Daddy Trump.
Daddy Trump. He had Melania.
Daddy's home.
He had,
He's pissed.
he had Melania translate in French for him to Trudeau just to make sure he understood.
Exactly.
Please.
It's gonna be fun to watch.
Avocado, limes. Oh, please. Tomatoes. We don't have tomatoes and limes here in Florida. Avocado. Oh boy, what are we gonna do? What? We've got avocados trees in our house.
Yeah, we have an avocado tree.
Maybe I'll open up an avocado stand down the street during the Mexican trade war. The number one, you know what the number one export?
He's not going to do anything because they get 75% of their of what they sell comes from us.
Listen,
We're their
Mexico
biggest consumer.
Mexico has two major exports. One are illegal drugs, and the other one are people. Right? We don't need either of those.
Yeah, she said it's our fault that they're spending all because we want the drugs.
And not only that, if they started a trade war, it wouldn't just be the goods that go back and forth. Trump would stop tourism, all the cruise ships and everything that go to Mexico every year. You know, and if you on a few of our cruises, we've gone to ports in Mexico, and they're nice. It's not like the Mexico that the interstate. It's like really nice where the cruise ships go. And these cruise ships, some of them now have 10,000 people on these big cruise ships. And they come to port. And I remember the last time we took a cruise to Mexico, my daughter and we got back to the ship late our whole group was actually late getting back. We were the last group to get back to the port out of all the cruise ships. It was a ghost town without the cruise passengers in the town. It was a ghost town.
No, it's a huge part.
They weren't making any money, nothing, you know. So they start a trade war. Trump shuts down the cruise ships going to Mexico,
Yep.
and then the imports across the border both ways. Mexico wouldn't last long.
You know, these world leaders are used to pushing people around.
Not going to happen.
She wasn't around when Trump was president before, so she's in for a rude awakening. But all the other ones know what he's all about, and they know he's
Listen,
a BS guy.
Whoever the president of Mexico is owned by the cartels. There's no doubt about it. So she's saying whatever the cartels are going to tell her to say. I mean, is there a way to be president of Mexico and not be corrupt and embedded with the cartels?
Well,
No way.
There's a lot of pressure on her because those cartels are making millions and millions and millions of dollars. Billions because of the border, and that is about to end. And I'm sure they're putting a lot of pressure on her. She might regret running to fix this situation because he is going to end all this stuff they're making money off of. Yep.
So we're going to win the trade war with Mexico and Canada and China too. You know, China's nothing without us. We buy all of their crap, right?
Exactly.
I mean, you know, how long would Temu last if the United States wasn't buying Temu products? Not long. Not long. Now, make sure that you subscribe if you're new to my channel. If you're already subbed, do me the favor of liking the video. My name's Brian. This is where MAGA comes to talk. I'll talk to you next time. Thanks for watching.